I can't believe it. What are we going to do? And that was kind of that moment that a lot of business owners got to when the pandemic first happened. And before the government went to put in play, some of the wage subsidies, people were like, oh, we're going to fire 50% of our staff. And everyone's like, oh no, we can't fire that person because they've got 14 weeks worth of annual leave and we don't have the funds set aside to pay them out, so we kind of have to keep them. And what it taught me is that business is phenomenal because there are so many people that don't have the provision accounts. Now, in order to be a great real estate business owner, one of the most important parts is to start to think about your exposure to risk and minimizing that risk. It's also making sure that you've got the appropriate amount of cash so you can keep the business running on a regular and consistent basis. Now, we're never going to have consistent revenues day in, day out. It would be amazing if we could all get to that level of predictable success. But you're going to hit different points at different times in the year. Now, you've got to work really clearly with your accountant to get your own financial advice. But one of the things that I love is having a tax savings account. That's where I ultimately think, what is my business activity statement going to look like? What am I going to be doing in terms of my income activity statement? And what am I doing to put additional funds aside for the provision to be able to pay my staff for the holiday and leave entitlements? Your job in running a great business is to really understand that you've got to have cash set aside so that ultimately when those rainy days turn up, it doesn't matter. You can pop up the umbrella because you've got all the resources that ultimately that you need. You see, the problem is in the good times, when the good times are a-rolling, we get pretty clear that we're out there just having a lot of fun and spending a lot of cash. But all of a sudden, when ultimately the business conditions change, you've got to make sure that you're ready. Now, ultimately, we work in so many different countries that have got completely different tax years. But what you do need to do is you do need to make sure that you're very clear that you've actually got those provision accounts for when those particular things become due. A great business, in my opinion, is one that's got plenty in reserve and one that can ultimately pay all of its bills well and truly in time so it can have the best suppliers who want to jump really high for you because you're really good at paying them. Now, more than ever before, being a great business owner is actually about really understanding what makes your business tick and putting all the cash aside that you need to be able to perform at your absolute best.